Good evening, everyone. Thank you for watching our event tonight. I'm Marianne, a program planner with the Orange County Library System. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy to be introducing Matthew Gurnsey, the Kilted Man. Before we get started, I just wanted to let everyone know that this project was made possible in part by the Institute of Museum and Library Services. So thank you very much for that assistance. And just some really exciting news. We have our adult summer reading going on right now. So you can win chances for or you can sign up to win digital badges and really cool prizes. So you can check that out at ocls.info. We'll also be putting that information in the comments. So definitely check that out. This event counts as towards your badge and all that fun stuff. So just really excited about the summer reading program. And yeah, it's great. So I hope everyone checks that out. So tonight we have Matthew Gurnsey here with us. Thank you, Matthew. And thank you, Kira, for being here. I know it's a little different since we're virtual. We're so used to being in person. But thank you so much for providing us with a performance still this year. So Matthew Gurnsey delights audiences with his rousing performance of traditional Irish and Scottish music. To learn more about Matthew Gurnsey, you can visit thekiltedman.com. So definitely be sure to check that out, the website on the screen. And we'll also be putting that in the comments as well. So thank you so much, Matthew, for being here. So what we'll do is we'll start the video, Matthew's performance, and then at the end, Matthew will answer any questions you may have. So if you have any questions, please put that in the comments. We'll be getting those at the end of the performance. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Matthew Gurnsey, the Kilted Man. Some of you may have seen me before in person live, and sadly this year I can't come back to Orlando to see you in person, but I miss you all very much and always love performing down that way. This is the first year in more than a decade that I have not been right through your way performing. So it's colder and there's less ocean everywhere else. So anyway, I hope that you're having a wonderful time so far, and we're going to get right into the show. So cheers. Start off with a sea shanty, and I thought we'd make this, as much of a traditional show as we can. With everything being different, it's nice to have at least a few things that are sort of similar. So here we go with my favorite subject, which is all about Cape Cod girls. Them Cape Cod girls ain't got no combs. Well, they comb their hair with the codfish bone, and we're bound away for Australia. So it's either up, me bully boys, either making, we're bound away for Australia. Give away, all away. They give all their patience codfish gills, and we're bound away for Australia. So it's either up, me bully boys, heave away, all away. Either up, and don't you make a noise, we're bound away for Australia. Them Cape Cod kids ain't got no sleds. Heave away, haul away, where they slide down the hill on a codfish head, and we're bound away for Australia. So it's either up, me bully boys, heave away, haul away, either up, and don't you make a noise, we're bound away for Australia. Them Cape Cod cats ain't got no tails, heave away, haul away, where they are blown off in the northeast gale, and we're bound away for Australia. So it's heave her up, me bully, bully boys, heave away, haul away, heave her up, and don't you make a noise, we're bound away for Australia. Them Cape Cod ladies don't wear no clothes, heave away, haul away. So I'm Cape Cod bound just as straight as she goes, we're bound away for Australia. And it's heave her up, me bully, bully boys, heave away, haul away, heave her up, and don't you make a noise, we're bound away for Australia. Well, thanks very much. I have to say it's quite a change for me to do performances that are virtual when there's no audience that I can see or listen to, because as any of you have seen me before, you'll know that I tend to tell jokes throughout my show. And whilst my jokes may not be fantastic, I'm at least used to hearing the groan in the background, and it's tough to not hear that. But I'll give it a go with a few anyway. So a pirate goes into a pub, and behind him comes in a sailor, and the sailor looks a bit at the pirate. He's not looking very well. He's got a leg, and a patch over his eye. The sailor says, "Gee, man, what happened to you?" And the pirate says, because they start all other sentences that way, right? I went overboard in a gale and a shark took me leg. The sailor says, "Oh, that's horrible." He said, "Well, what happened to your hand?" And the pirate says, I was in a sword fight. They cut me hand clean off. The sailor says, "Geez, that's terrible." He says, "What happened to your eye?" And the pirate says, a seagull pooped in it. And the sailor says, "What? Do you mean to tell me you lost your eye because a seagull pooped in it?" And the pirate says, "Well, it was the first day of having me hook." And we're back to music. For this next song, I'll be performing on the concertina. The concertina is also known as a squeeze box or a button box. That's because it's got these buttons here on the sides. And I use the bellows and the buttons to make all of the sounds. So we'll play a bit of it, and then I'll come back and show you a little more of how it works. Come along, let us step it out together. Come along, be it fair or stormy weather, or the hills of home before us, and the purple o' the heather. Let us sing a happy chorus, come along. It's the smell of sea and shore, it's the tang of bog and peat, it's the scent of briar and myrtle that puts magic in your feet. So home we go rejoicing over bracken, over stile, and soon we will be tramping on the last long mile. Come along, let us step it out together. Come along, be it fair or stormy weather, or the hills of home before us, and the purple o' the heather. Let us sing a happy chorus, come along. Oh, now gaily sings the lark, and the sky is awake with the promise of the day, as the road we gladly take. So it's heel and forward, bidding farewell to the town, and the welcome that awaits us ere the sun goes down. Come along, let us step it out together. Come along, be it fair stormy weather, or the hills of home before us, and the purple o' the heather. Let us sing a happy chorus, come along, let us sing a happy chorus. Come along, come along. So this is a Haydn duet, which is a very specific kind of concertina. There are two major kinds of concertina in the world. There's an English and an Anglo, and neither of those are the Haydn duet. But on the Haydn duet, I've got buttons on both sides. Each one is an individual note. So if I want to play a chord, then I have to finger all of the notes myself. And then I've got two entirely different scales on both sides so that I can play a harmony and sing a melody and then play an alternate harmony on the other side. And that's basically the concertina, the Haydn duet, which I'll be playing more in the rest of the show as well. All right, having explained a wee bit about the concertina to you, I thought I would play a tune set for you. Let's do something Irish. So we'll do Rocky Road to Dublin, to the Irish Washerwoman. And so that you can watch my fingers here, I'll play only on this half of it. We won't use this half. So. O'Malley is dead, and O'Reilly don't know it. O'Reilly is dead, and O'Malley don't know it. They're both lying dead in the very same bed, and the one doesn't know that the other one's dead. As you slide down the banister of life, may the splinters never point in the wrong direction. Let's do something that hails from Nova Scotia, which of course means New Scotland, so that's how we can get away with that here. Farewell, Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast, let the mountains dark and drear I be. For when I am far away from the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? The sun, it was setting in the west, the birds sang on every tree, and all nature seemed inclined for to rest, but still there is never a rest for me. Farewell, Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast, let your mountains dark and drear I be. For when I'm far away from the brine ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? I grieve to leave my nation, oh, I grieve to leave my comrades bold, and my parents that I love so well, and the bonny, bonny lass that I do adore. Farewell, Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast, let your mountains dark and drear I be. For when I am far away from the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? The drums they do beat and the wars they do roar, our captain calls and we must go away. Farewell, farewell to Nova Scotia's charms, it's early in the morning and far, far away. Farewell in Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast, that yon mountains dark and drear I be. For when I'm far away from the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? Will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? Well, thanks very much. This is a mandolin. This instrument is created in this country here in America. This particular one is a Gibson A, and it's over 100 years old, so it still sounds better than I do. I think it's time for another toast. Here's to bread and eggs and milk and cinnamon. It's a French toast. I thought it might be nice to share with you one of my mother's favorite songs. This is a lullaby that she used to sing to me when I was a wee bairn. All the summertime has come, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme grows around the bloomin' heather. Will you go, lassie, go, and we'll all go together to the wild mountain thyme, all around the bloomin' heather. Will you go, lassie, go? I will range through the wild and the deep glens sae dreary, to return with my spoils to the bower, oh my dearie. Will you go, lassie, go, and we'll all go together to the wild mountain thyme, all around the bloomin' heather. Will you go, lassie, go? If my true love she'll not go, I would never find another, where the wild mountain thyme grows around the bloomin' heather. Will you go, lassie, go, and we'll all go together to the wild mountain thyme, all around the bloomin' heather. Will you go, lassie, go? Let's do something a bit different now. I perform a lot for libraries when I have the time, because my mother was a librarian, and so I've grown up surrounded by books, and instilled in me at a very early age the great importance of libraries. And one of my early authors that I enjoyed was Rudyard Kipling, who wrote the lyrics for this next song. Now, this next song is strictly not Celtic music, because it's from a time before the Celtic nations. So you have to step back into history with me for a moment, to the time of the great and terrible Roman Empire. Now, the Romans were taking over the entire known world, and no one was standing in their way until they got to just above where England sits today. Coincidentally, that's where you'll find Scotland. And there they encountered this diminutive little people who were called the Picts. And the Romans called them the Picts because they had painted themselves blue with woad. Well, the Picts, of course, took exception to the Romans moving into their territory, and they fought so ferociously and so bravely, but also in such an unorthodox manner that the Romans didn't know what to do with it. And instead of continuing their quest northward, they built a wall, which is akin to the Great Wall of China. It still stands today, much of it, and you can see it from space. It's called Hadrian's Wall. And I was just there November before last, hiking a bit of it again. It's absolutely lovely up that way. But basically, the Romans said, we have taken over the entire world, except this little bit up here, which doesn't really count. You stay on your end, we'll stay on our end. Let's call it good. And so the Picts got to stay where they were. The Romans stayed south of Hadrian's Wall. And then that was kind of a delineation line for many years to come, and still is in some minds. So this is a song about the Picts and how they felt about Rome and their wall. Rome never looks where she treads, always her heavy foot falls on our stomachs, our hearts and our heads. And Rome never heeds when we bawl. The centuries pass on, that is all. We gather behind them in hordes and plot to reconquer the wall, with only our tongues for our swords. We are the little folk, we, too little to love or to hate, but leave us alone and you'll see how we can drag down the state. We are the worm in the wood, we are the rot at the root, and we are the taint in the blood, and we are the thorn in the foot. Mistletoe killing an oak, rats gnawing cables in tow, moths making holes in a cloak. How they must love what they do, yes, and we little folk too, for we are as busy as they, working our works out of view. Watch and you'll see it someday. We are the little folk, we, too little to love or to hate, but leave us alone and you'll see how we can drag down the state. We are the worm in the wood, we are the rot at the root, and we are the taint in the blood, and we are the thorn in the foot. No, indeed, we're not strong, but we know peoples that are, and yes, we will guide them along to smash and destroy you in war. We shall be slaves just the same. When have we never been slaves? But you will die of the shame, and then we will dance on your graves. We are the little folk, we, too little to love or to hate, but leave us alone and you'll see how we can drag down the state. So this is an instrument that I don't get to play very often. It's actually the same instrument as this. I can bring it up a wee bit closer so that you can see. This is an Irish whistle, also known as a tin whistle, although mine is not tin. It's also called a penny whistle, and for that reason, I affectionately call this one a nickel whistle, but in fact, they're both penny whistles and they're Irish instruments. Must be time for another toast. Those that love us, and that didn't love us, may they learn to love us. And if they didn't learn to love us, may God twist their ankles so that we may know them by their limping. It wouldn't be Celtic music without a drinking song or two. And this is one that ordinarily gets audience participation. So you have to do this at home, preferably if you're there and there are other people in the house, but they don't see what it is that you're doing. They're not paying attention, because it will confuse them when suddenly out of the blue you yell McIntyre. So you'll know when to do it, and that's your job, is to yell McIntyre so that I can hear it wherever I am, which is a tall order. Some friends in a pub house were playing dominoes one night. When into the pub the fireman came, his face a ghostly white. "What's up?" says Brown. "Have you seen a ghost? Have you seen your Aunt Maria?" "Will me Aunt Maria be buggered?" says he. The bleeding pub's on fire, and there was Brown upside down, lapping up the whiskey on the floor. "Booze, booze," the fireman cried as they come a knocking at the door. "But don't let him in till it's all mopped up," somebody shouted McIntyre. And we all got blue, blind, paralytic drunk when the old cow caught fire. Well, Smith walked over to the port wine tub. He gave it a few hard knocks. He started taking off his pantaloons, likewise his shoes and socks. "Hold on," says Brown. "Don't do that. You cannot do that in here. Don't go washing your trotters in the port wine tub when we've got Coors Light beer." And there was Brown upside down, lapping up the whiskey on the floor. "Booze, booze," the fireman cried as they come a knocking at the door. "But don't let him in till it's all mopped up," somebody shouted McIntyre. And we got blue, blind, paralytic drunk when the old cow caught fire. This is a song out of Edinburgh. This is an Andy M. Stewart song, Island of Sorrows. She's far from the land where our young hero sleeps, while around her sweet lovers are sighing. But coldly she turns to the wooings and weeps, for her heart with his cold grave is lying. She sings the wild songs of her own native home, every note which he so loved awaking. Ah, but little they think who delight in her tone, how the heart of this young girl is breaking. Though he lived for his love, it's for his country he died. They were all that till life had entwined him. The tears of his country may never run dry, nor long will his love stay behind him. She sings the wild songs of her own native home, every note which he so loved awaking. Ah, but little they think who delight in her tone, how the heart of this young girl is breaking. So make her a grave where the sun goes to rest, and think on a glorious tomorrow. May it shine on us asleep like a smile from the west, from our own lovely island of sorrows. May it shine on us asleep like a smile from the west, from our own lovely island of sorrows. I think it's time for another toast, since it's about time for another drinking song. Here's a good traditional Scottish one for you. May we kiss whom we please, and please whom we kiss. Solange. You ever been to the pub, and there's that lass there, and she's fine in every way, but you know inside that she's trouble. Now, this is a song about one of those, and about a wee bit of trouble that the laddie got into. In a neat little town they call Belfast, apprentice to trade I was born, and many's an hour of sweet happiness I spent in that neat little town, when a bad misfortune befell me that caused me to stray from the land, far away from my friends and companions, to follow the black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like the diamond, you'd think she was queen of the land, and her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. As I went strolling one evening, not intending to stray very far, where I met with a frolicsome damsel, telling her trade at the bar. Well, watch, she pulled my customer, she slipped it right into my hand. On the very first day that I met her, bad luck to her black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like diamond, you'd think she was queen of the land, and her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Before the judge and the jury for trial I had to appear, well, the gentleman claimed his jewellery, and the case against me was quite clear. Now 7 long years transportation, right down to that Van Diemen's land, far away from my friends and companions, to follow her black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like the diamond, you'd think she was queen of the land, and her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. So come all you jolly young fellows, I'll have you take warning by me, and if ever you're out on the liquor, my lads, beware of the pretty collie, or they'll fill you with whiskey and porter until you're not able to stand. And the very next thing that you know, me boys, you've landed in Van Diemen's land. Her eyes, they shone like the diamond, you'd think she was queen of the land, and her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. As it happens, I have a special treat for you. My latest album came out just last year. It's Legends and Fairy Tales, and it has amazing stories of course, unrequited love and death and yearning and all of the normal Celtic things, but this also dives a bit deeper, and we get some of the wonderful legends that you'll find in Celtic lore. There are tales of demon foxes and of ghosts and of highwaymen on the road. And this is a brilliant place to go get all of that. So where can you get this fine album, you may ask? Well, the obvious place would be here at my website, but you can also find it online at Apple Music and Spotify and wherever you normally go for your digital music. Just look at Matthew Gurnsey. But if you want a fun album, you could say that this album is legendary. A long time ago when the earth was green, there were more kinds of animals than you've ever seen. They'd run around free while the earth was being born, but the loveliest of all was the unicorn. There were green alligators and long-necked geese, humpty-back camels and some chimpanzees, cats and rats and elephants, but sure as you're born, the loveliest of all was the unicorn. Now God seen some sinning, and it gave him pain. He says, stand back, I'm gonna make it rain. He says, hey brother Noah, I'll tell you what to do. Build me a floating zoo, and take some of them green alligators and long-necked geese, humpty-back camels and some chimpanzees, cats and rats and elephants, but sure as you're born, don't you forget my unicorn. Well, Noah was there to answer the call. He finished up making the ark just as the rain started falling. They marched in the animals 2 by 2, and he called out as they went through, hey Lord, I got your green alligators and long-necked geese, humpty-back camels and some chimpanzees, cats and rats and elephants, but Lord, I'm so forlorn, I just can't see no unicorn. Well, Noah looked out through the driving rain. Them unicorns were hiding, playing silly games, kicking and splashing while the rain was falling on the unicorn. Noah cried, close the door, 'cause the rain is falling, and we just can't wait for no unicorn. Well, the ark started moving, drifted with the tide. Them unicorns looked up from the rocks and they cried, and the waters came down and sorta floated them away. And that's why you'll never see a unicorn to this very day. The juicy green alligators and long-necked geese, humpty-back camels and some chimpanzees, cats and rats and elephants, but sure as you're born, you're never gonna see a unicorn. In Ireland, until fairly recently, the largest industry was chemical plants. It didn't have any of those pesky standards they have in this country, and the conditions were not what you would consider to be ideal. And so this is a song about a process man in a chemical plant. Well, a process man am I, and I'm telling you no lie. I work and breathe among the fumes that tread across the sky. There's thunder all around me, and there's poison in the air. There's a lousy smell that smacks so hell, and it's all in me hair. And it's go, boys, go. They'll time your every breath, and every day you're in this place. You 2 days near death, but you go. Well, there's all the time and bonus opportunities galore. The young men like their money and they all come back for more. But soon you're knocking on and you look older than you should. For every bob made on the job you pay with flesh and blood. And it's go, boys, go. They'll time your every breath, and every day you're in this place. You're 2 days near to death, but you go. Well, I've worked among the and I've the oily smoke. I shoveled up the gypsum and it makes you choke. I stood knee deep in sand, I got sick with a caustic burn. I've been working rough, I've seen enough to make your stomach turn. And it's go, boys, go, they'll time your every breath. And every day autumn, this place you 2 days near to death. But you go, boys, go, they'll time your every breath. And every day autumn, this place you 2 days near to death. But you go. This is a bodhran. It's called an Irish drum. And a lot of people ask me about how to play it. You play it with a tipper. And I have my tippers especially made for me. They are out of different kinds of wood and different lengths depending on the tone and the pitch that I'm looking for. And all of my tippers have a thumb rest built in the middle. And that's sort of specific to me because I have a hard time playing quickly without releasing the tipper off into the audience, which of course is less of a concern for you being a virtual audience, but ordinarily it's something to be wary of. So play the bodhran with one hand on the inside. Use that hand to get all of the tone and the pitch. Depending on where you hold that hand is affects the noise that you get out of the front. And then you use the tipper on the front to, of course, get the rhythms. So, I'll show you since we're here and you can see a little closer than you might normally in a live performance, the inside hand and how that works when you're playing the bodhran. So. Basically how the bodhran is played. So I thought I would give you a little bit of a show into how that works out. Well, this has certainly been an interesting last couple of years for all of us. And I thought I should sing a song for comrades no longer winning with us. This is a bowed psaltery. And I suppose one of the benefits of doing this by video is that I can actually hold it up so that you can see closely the strings that are all played individually with the bow, and so each one is quite resonant. Here's a toast for you. Here's to those that wish us well, and all the rest can go to another virtual performance somewhere else. You know what, with COVID and all of the hazards that are going around these days with sickness and illness, the whole medical profession has really been quite up in arms to sort out how they can resolve all of this. And they've just come up with a breakthrough, which I think will probably please all of us, because they have discovered that there is actually an animal, in fact, even a mammal, on this planet that never gets sick. And if they can just determine why it is that it never gets sick, then they might be able to work that out for us, and we could live out our whole lives that way. So it's the anteater, and they have figured that if they can just discover why it is that anteaters never get sick, I think the going hypothesis now is that it's all of the little antibodies in the anteater, because anyway. This is one that I've been playing for many years, and I often close a show this way, so I thought maybe in the interest of trying to make things as normal as possible, that I would finish with this. The diamond, there's a ship, me boys, and the river straight she's bound, and the quay it has all gone a shed with bonny lasses round. Captain Thompson gives the order to sail the ocean wide, where the sun she never sets, me lads, the darkness fills the sky. And it's cheer up, my lads, let your hearts never fail, or the bonny ship that I'm in goes a fishing for the whale. All along the quay at Peterhead, the lassies stand around, the shawls all pulled about them, the tears down. Don't you weep, my bonny lass, for you're left behind, for the rose will grow on Greenland's ice before we change our mind. And it's cheer up, my lads, let your hearts never fail, or the bonny ship that I'm in goes a fishing for the whale. Here's a health to the Resolution, likewise the Eliza Swan. Here's a health to the Battle Montrose and the Diamond Ship of Fame. When we wear the trousers o' the white and the jackets o' the blue, and we return to Peterhead, we'll have sweethearts anew. And it's cheer up, my lads, let your hearts never fail, or the bonny ship that I'm in goes a fishing for the whale. It's cheer up, my lads, let your hearts never fail, or the bonny ship that I'm in goes fishing for the whale. Boy, Matthew Gurnsey, the Kilted Man, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you all down the road. Cheers.
Thank you, Matthew. I'm going to add you back to the stream.
Oh, fantastic.
Caught. Now I want popcorn.
Oh, you can have some of mine. Here you go.
Oh, fail.
Oh.
I mean, yes, I got that. Thank you for the...
That would have been great.
Next time. Thank you for this virtual performance. If you viewers have any questions for Matthew, you can place those in the comments now. To kick off the Q&A, I have a few questions of my own. We saw you play multiple instruments tonight. So how many instruments do you play in total? Or can you play in total?
Well, lots. Many.
More than one.
Almost two.
Proficiently.
Oh, right. Well, I've had professional training only on 3 instruments. the piano, which of course you don't see me play, the violin, which of course you also don't see me play, and the Highland pipes, bagpipes, which you don't see me play. So those are the three instruments that I've had professional instruction in.
Okay, maybe next time. So you mentioned like the Haydn duet, the concertina. Was that one of the most difficult instruments to learn because you're on like both ends and you had to keep all those notes straight?
No, so it's not an easy instrument, definitely, but it's not the most difficult instrument. The hurdy-gurdy is actually pretty difficult to keep all in touch, but I haven't got one, so you don't have to worry about me playing it. But it's a good thing because you have to crank a handle while you play a keyboard, and so it's quite this.
Okay. Yes. The skill.
Yeah,
you can't see our bottom here.
Exactly.
We're doing great on that. We can both do this.
Yes.
So, I have a very, very serious question for you now. The pineapple shaker that you were performing with earlier, is that a traditional Scottish instrument?
Absolutely. So Scotland has a lot of Scottish people have immigrated to other areas. And if in fact you go to Hawaii, where they have a Scottish festival that I've played at on a couple of occasions, you'll see lots and lots of pineapple plantations. And the plantations for pineapples in Hawaii were almost exclusively started by Scottish immigrants. So pineapples have a very close tie to Scotland, which is true and has nothing whatsoever to do with my pineapple shaker. Although there is a tie to my pineapple shaker, which is that I was playing at the Scottish Highland Games in Hawaii, and I had a normal shaker on stage. And I get kind of exuberant, as you see, and my shaker exploded and little beads went all over the stage, and they pitched in and they got me the pineapple shaker at that festival, and so that's the extent of its traditional nature. But pineapples do actually have a Scottish tie, so, and you probably didn't know that, so there you go.
I did not. It's so wonderfully random. We're here to learn.
That's what libraries are grand for.
You mentioned also your newest album during your performance. So when creating an album, what's your favorite part of recording your own music?
I would say collaboration with other artists. So being a solo musician, that's just me on stage. And when I get to do an album, often I can bring in friends from other places. So on my most recent album, I've got a bit of Luke Halpin and Stephanie Bettman, and Kira as well actually sings on the album, and plays the hunting horn, I think. So it's a lot of fun being able to work with other musicians and get some harmonies. I really miss that.
Cool. So is there a song that you never get tired of playing?
Yes, everyone. I never get tired of playing every song. And it's because every audience is different. And so every time I play a song, it's a different song because the audience responds in a different way to it, which is entirely not true if I'm doing a virtual performance. That's really difficult to play just for myself.
You just have to imagine.
Right. That's, yeah.
You can have Kira like pretend she's an entire audience.
Yes. We set up, 100 chairs, and she just moves from one to another.
Yes. Puts on a hat.
Yeah. Different voices.
Glasses.
Yeah.
Clothes.
That's good.
Well, hopefully next year we'll have you live in person at the library, and we'll get to see Kira perform also. No pressure.
That hunting horn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm proficient on that. One note.
It's an important note, though. You'll hear it on the album if you listen to the Little Black Fox. That's the important one.
Black Box. Okay. We're going to have to check that out. Speaking of checking out,
Which is something you do at a library.
music. I'm placing the Kilted Man's website in the comments again, so you can check out his music there. You can also find out different information, see the different discography. There we go. So definitely check out the kiltedman.com. I don't see any questions in the comments. So with that, that concludes our event. Thank you so much, Kira, and thank you so much, Matthew, for being with us tonight and welcoming us into your home and providing us with this virtual event.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to watch it again. It was so good.
Yes, you can check out the replay on OCLS's Facebook and YouTube. So definitely check that out. And I hope everyone is. Oh. It just makes me sad every time. I'm going to go make some popcorn. So definitely check out the replay. And again, I hope everyone's staying healthy and safe out there and you have a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you again, Matthew, and thank you, Kira.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to be the first to find out when we have new fun and informative videos for you. Orange County Library System is your place to learn, grow, connect.